It does have effects and it has consequences. And oftentimes what happens at providers, especially when a mom has a cesarean birth and it didn't go the way that she wanted, and they go on to have, subsequent pregnancies, they don't see what ends up happening. There are some really serious consequences that happen, like placenta accreta, where it gets attached to the scar tissue,
wow.
Things like that. And I always wonder, it's not, it's so much about like the physical part of it, but it's like, think about what for the mom, right? But also, what is that doing subsequently to affecting those other pregnancies and those
Absolutely.
other births? And I think that's the part that's problematic to me.
Everyone, and welcome to another episode of Seasons Podcast. I am Daniela, and today I have Isis Mesa-Rubin, doula, author, lactation counselor, and childbirth educator. I'm so excited to have her. Her heart is in supporting families through one of the most transformative seasons of life, childbirth. And she believes deeply in creating spaces where mothers feel seen, supported, and most importantly, empowered and loved. And I loved when you sent that to me, that so resounded with me. Helping them feel confident, connected, and held as they welcome new life. It's incredible. Her life's purpose is to support families in feeling confident, informed, and deeply supported through the most transformative, again, season. And I love that. Pregnancy, birth, and beyond. And I'm so honored to have you today, Isis. I was so excited for this conversation, especially as a mother of two. Everyone has a birth story. And I find it so deeply compelling to have someone like you who is like so involved, because I did it very, I guess the word is sterile. And then like having someone like you, because my sister-in-law had a doula, and it was the first experience that I had with a doula. And it's magical, and it's different. Like, and I'm sure, I want to hear everything about how a mother chooses that, because I know that wasn't something that I chose. Maybe I would in the future after talking to you. But thank you for being here.
No, first of all, thank you so much for having me and giving me the opportunity to talk about birth and motherhood. It's my favorite topic.
Yes.
And like you said, we all have a story, and we all take part of birth in one way or the other, either by giving birth or by being born. So it's such an important topic, and can't wait. Yeah, can't wait to.
I'm so excited. And everyone, I must say, her book is gorgeous. Please get yourself a copy. The Welcome to the World: A Doula's Guide to Magic of Birth. And it's just beautiful. And I've looked into it, and I want to just share like a few photos. I think it's so special. And please, let's start from the beginning, because I'm jumping ahead. I have so many questions for you. Yeah. Tell me a little bit about your background. Where were you born and raised?
Yes. So I was born and raised here.
Okay.
I'm a Florida girl. There's not too many, right?
Amazing. Yes. A lot are born and raised, or they moved. Yeah.
Or they moved.
They moved. Yes. So I love that. Floridian, born and raised.
I'm a Floridian here. And then, this work, I've been working in mother and children for quite some time. Before I even got pregnant, I was working in the hospital doing like newborn screening and audiology. And I remember some of my favorite parts of doing that work was talking to moms after their birth and hearing about their birth story. Yeah. And so shortly after, I think a year into doing that work, I got pregnant, and, I went in through that portal myself.
Yes.
And that left me, it cracked me open. I like to say it really was like my rebirth. It changed the way that I not only saw myself, but that I saw women.
Absolutely.
I was always amazed by birth. I think it was incredible, the fact that like we create form out of the formless.
Yes.
But
that's beautifully said. Yes.
Yeah, right?
Yes.
Isn't it incredible?
It's incredible. It's incredible. The whole idea of carrying a little human, and that we as women literally make little people, like other human beings.
Yes,
I agree.
We are the portals, right, in which like souls enter this world.
Literally.
And so that's
I have chills. That was so powerful. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. No, it is. It's so beautiful. And so I always love listening to people's birth stories. And then I went through it, and like I said, it was just I was cracked open. I was like, wow, I've never felt so empowered.
Oh my gosh, amazing.
And really just, I had this reverence for women. I'm like, they are incredible. And so this was slowly, I still was working kind of that job. And then little by little, I started like supporting some friends. And until then I gave birth again. And I was like, no, this is what I have to do.
Yes, amazing.
This is my life's purpose.
Yes.
And since then, it's been, it really is a privilege and an honor every single time to,
That's incredible.
to sit with families.
Yeah.
And sacred moments.
I mean, it really is. And so tell me, were you an OB or what were you doing birthing wise before becoming a doula?
Yeah, no, so I was just working in the hospital. I was working for a corporate company, but we were doing like newborn hearing screening. So I would go to like,
okay.
yeah, so I was in that space.
Yes.
We would do like startups and different hospitals. And, I would do training. So I was kind of in that space. But even before that, I was always really interested in pregnancy. Like I said, I thought it was such a miracle.
That's amazing.
Every single time.
Do you have lots of siblings?
I have 2 older brothers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was wondering, I'm like, maybe you saw it through families.
No, it wasn't. And it's funny and part of the reason I wanted to write the book, because I think back of like the way that I approached birth and, the view that I had on it. And it really starts with the first stories we hear about birth.
Absolutely.
And that's actually one of the first questions that I ask my families when I meet them. I'm like, what are the 3 words that come to your mind when you think about birth? And also, what was your first story?
Yes.
And for me, I remember my dad, and this is like in Spanish, he would say like, it's a phrase like my mom would lay eggs. Like it was so effortless.
Yes.
I know,
I've
so
heard that for
weird.
some women. No, I've heard that for a lot of women. Like, you hear stories like, oh, the kid just fell out of me, or like, that was incredible. And
and that's all I would ever hear.
Yes.
Like it was never about like the pain or anything, or it was like challenging. It was like something effortless.
Yes.
And so that really also shaped the way that like I went into birth. Like it wasn't something that I feared. It was something normal. My dad would like talk about that all the time, of like our birth stories. And so that's kind of what led to the book too, because I wanted to plant those seeds.
Yes.
Of what birth can be, and hence starting these conversations.
Right, absolutely. Because I guess on the flip side, like when you think of reality, like not every birth story is immaculate or easy or complication free.
Right.
So becoming a doula, first of all, are there like certifications that you have to go through, or tell me about becoming a doula?
Yeah.
And what is being a doula? What is it? Let's start there.
No, that's a great place to start. So so a doula is a trained professional who supports families emotionally, physically, informational, providing information, advocating for the best care through pregnancy, birth, and postpartum.
Got it.
So it's like the terminology of it, but really doulas have existed since the beginning of time.
Yes.
Right? Historically, women have always birthed with other women who perhaps had already had, given birth before, or who have attended birth and had an understanding.
Right.
But it wasn't, when birth started moving more into hospital setting, we kind of lost that.
Yeah.
And it's funny how, because you asked about my training, but the organization that I, decided to certify with, they're the largest one. And the way that it started was that they went to Guatemala to try to study mother-baby bonding. It was a bunch of researchers.
That's incredible.
And while they were there, they noticed that women that had a companion, just sitting in the birth room, they had better birth outcomes.
I can imagine, just the support.
Yes, and just having that presence. And honestly, that's what I have learned in this path. I think when I first became a doula, I was like doing all the things.
Yes.
Like, the hip squeeze and all the things that we think about a doula. But the more and more I do this, I realize that it's really about presence.
Yes.
That is the most important thing. And even like, that's a feedback that I hear from families.
Yeah.
It was your calming presence. It wasn't my amazing hip squeezes. It was just my loving presence, having somebody there who believes in your ability to birth.
Yeah.
The
care, I can imagine. Yes.
Cares. Yes. It changes when like women, I think women should birth around people who love them.
Yeah, I agree.
And support. It changes the whole experience.
It does. And I mean, so I will share a little about my birth story because I want, I think that it's important because I would like for you to share stories maybe that weren't perfect. Mm-hmm. And so for me, I think about it all the time because for me, it's kind of twofold. I think that it's incredible. Home birthing is incredible. But like for me personally, and like you can speak about this after, it's scary because like my first birth didn't go, the way that I envisioned. I guess it's the way you said it was beautiful because I think every woman has this expectation of what birth is going to be like.
Yeah.
You know, how is it going to feel and where is it going to be and what is it going to look like and, you know, holding the baby afterwards and just having that bonding moment. And through it all, you know, there's mixed opinion on whether or not like to put the vitamin E on their eyes and whether to do this and whether to do that. And, you know, everyone has so many opinions. And I think it's incredible having someone like you because you, I'm sure, keep women grounded. And it's like, well, let's make this choice together and an informed choice rather than like medical or needs to be. Yeah. So with my son, Luke, the epidural didn't work. That was first.
Yeah, and that's always tough because then you're in bed. And,
yes.
Yeah.
So the epidural didn't work. And then he had the umbilical cord around his neck as he was coming out. So I was told to stop pushing like mid-push, which was so painful. I remember it clearly. And then I had to have an episiotomy, like where they cut in between to make more room for him. So all the things. And then the poor kid comes out and he wasn't crying. And so no one in the room says anything. And I obviously scream out after hours of giving birth, like, my kid isn't crying. And so finally, you know, they smack him on the butt and he makes like a, so thank God he's alive. Yeah. But had to go straight to the NICU. He had amniotic fluid in his lungs. So I guess, you know, even though it was incredibly beautiful, like I do have this one photo where he was on my chest, but like it was a photo op. And so I guess my question for you, because that really sits with me, is how do you handle, I mean, has there been a situation like that for you where you were at home and God forbid medical attention was needed? And how do you handle that? How does the family handle that?
Yeah. No, so thank you so much for sharing. But yeah, I wanted to go back to what you were saying about, because so as a doula, we support home births, hospital birth, birthing centers. So not just, you know, home births.
Oh, good to know. Okay.
Yeah. But also I love to your sense that like, I tell moms all the time, like, oh, where should I give birth? They ask me and I'm like, where you're going to feel safe.
Yes. Yes.
And if it's having an OR down, you know, the hall, then that's where you need to be. And if it's at home and being in a comforter home. So safety is something that we often don't think about at birth, but that is the most important thing. And that's
absolutely
what I hopefully try to, you know, to create like with my presence and, you know, with the education part of it. So you could go into it feeling safe. Because birth is an autonomic, you know, process. Right. Right. Just a way that we breathe, just a way that we digest. We don't really have to think about it. And so it's, you know, often people think about the physical part, but it's so much about the nervous system.
Yes, I agree.
And that's where I think as a doula, I really come in for that human experience part of birth.
Absolutely.
Making sure that you feel safe, providing that reassurance in situations like you mentioned, when the room kind of shifts to the baby and the mom is left like, what is happening? Yeah. Being there and looking you in the eyes and be like, okay, it's okay. Yes. Your baby's okay. Yes. You're explaining what's happening. Yes. Yes. So those are the ways that I support. And to your point, I think oftentimes we romanticize a certain type of birth, right? Yep. And we see the beautiful videos and all of that. And I remind my moms, it's especially hard for moms who do all the things. Yes. Yeah, and we do the massages and we do the breathing and the pelvic floor therapy. Yes, exactly. And it's so hard because you get to it and you feel like you failed or you know, what didn't work. And I always like to remind you that it's also your baby's birth story. Yeah. Right? And that's part of the mystery of birth. And, you know, we don't understand why certain things happen or certain things are needed, but that's why it does require surrender. I am all about preparation, going to an informed, equipping yourself with the best team. Yes. That, you know, sees you and you feel held, but also it requires that surrender. Yeah, it does. And so, yeah, I mean, how I support families through that into like in situations like that when things are turning, just making sure my focus is always the mother, because I know that the doctors or the midwives are going to take care of the baby. I feel that in my soul. I feel you. I wish I had you with me in that moment, because it was scary for my husband also. Yes. Like it was scary where he's literally like holding one leg and the nurse is holding another leg and they tell him to like stop, everything stop. It was like we talk about it all the time. Yeah. Yeah. No, it is. And I think sometimes we forget about the person who's experiencing this. Absolutely. Right. And so that's, as a doula, that's really our role. That's beautiful. To just, our focus is on you. To the dads, I always say to the partner as well that like having somebody there who they could be like, hey, is this normal? Like what can, what can I do? How can I better support? That changes the whole experience because it's also their part, their birth story
of course. It's their wife or partner and their child that's just coming into the world. Yeah. Absolutely. It's incredible and scary.
Yes.
And
it is.
I would love for you to talk about, because I'm sure that you have the experience. Can you go through with me the different types of birthing? Because you're right, and I didn't think about that. Yeah. And I automatically think like doula, water birth.
Yeah.
So let's break that stigma together. Yeah. What are all the different types of birthing?
Yeah.
And then like, I would love for you to even go into like what a VBAC is. I've heard of that, and like I kind of know, but I'm uncertain, and some friends want that and some don't. So let's help all the moms.
Yes, no, thank you. I love this question. So there's 3 different places that technically you could birth. Well, birth happens anywhere, in a parking lot.
Yes,
anywhere,
of course.
Yes,
you hear the stories in a car on the side of the road.
It happens everywhere.
The baby's ready.
But yeah, so you have a birthing center birth where it's similar to a hospital, to a kind of a home birth in the sense that like there is no, higher acuity of care, like there's no OR, things like that.
Okay.
And then typically, so there's like a midwife there, and you stay there for about 3 hours after the birth. And then you're discharged. And then, of course, there's a home birth.
Yes.
Where a midwife, a certified midwife, comes to your home and supports you. There's typically a birthing assistant with you as well.
Okay.
To support the family. And
plus you.
Plus the doula.
Oh, amazing. Yes. Oh, my gosh. Okay.
So there's typically, I also do that sometimes. I support midwives as their birth assistant, which is really cool.
That's incredible. And what's the difference? Because I had a midwife the first time, and just my OB, who also was incredible.
Yeah.
Can you explain the difference between those two? What is a midwife?
Yeah. So a midwife, I always say midwives have been delivering babies kind of since the beginning of time. So they are medical professionals. And the difference between a midwife and an OB is that an OB is an obstetrician who they're surgeons, right?
Yes.
They do attend natural, births, vaginal births. But at the end of the day, they're kind of trained for more that higher risk.
Understood. That makes sense.
Yeah, of care. And so, hospital birth. So there's hospital term birth, and then birthing centers is kind of what our
That's awesome. Okay. God, I didn't know there was birthing centers. Honestly, that's amazing.
We have a few in the area.
That's awesome. Okay. Yeah. And do they have different types of birthing at the birthing center, like in a pool or in a bed?
Yeah. So at the birthing center, like at home, it could happen in a tub, in a pool, or it could happen on your bed or anywhere. And versus in the hospital, actually Broward Health, which is not too far away, they actually do water birth. So it's like the only hospital.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
wow.
In South Florida.
Okay.
Where you could have a water birth, but for the most part, you are giving birth like in the bed in the hospital.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. What are the benefits of a water birth?
Oh my gosh, I love it. I had a water birth myself.
Really?
Yeah.
How did you make that decision?
I had read about it. Her name is Barbara Harper. She's the co-founder of Water Birth International, and I came across her work and read her book.
That's incredible.
And I think what I really loved is that, that's what I was supporting moms too, it creates like this little boundary around you.
Okay.
That it causes for less like intervention or touching. I don't know. I really like the idea of like I have my little bubble.
Yes. No, I love that. I can totally envision that.
Yeah.
And water, like I've had a whole conversation before about water. It's healing and empowering and comforting, and I agree. I mean, I live in front of I live in front of the ocean, and it's spiritual. Water is spiritual.
It is. It truly is. And also, our babies are in water.
Yes.
So, they come out, into the water.
Yes.
So I think it's like a beautiful transition.
Yeah.
Into
Do
the world.
You worry? I mean, this is such like a first world thing, but like, do you worry about like what kind of water? Is it sterilized? Is it salted? Is it, obviously no chlorine, but like, how do you help someone who has those kind of questions?
Yeah, for the most part, we use whatever comes out of your, shower
or
sink. Yeah.
Normal. Got it. Great.
All normal.
Okay.
Yeah. So nothing is really needed.
So many stigmas. I mean, I guess it's good that I'm asking these questions because these are the stigmas that we have.
Yeah,
like, how do you keep it sterile? How do keep it clean.
Well, and the water is being changed if the labor is happening for kind of a long time.
Understood,
We're making sure that it's like a nice warm temperature.
That's amazing.
And it is soothing. I always say like water is like nature's epidural.
It is. I can imagine that because you're also like weightless.
Yes.
When you're in a pool, if you're floating,
Yeah,
I'm
it
sure
causes
that
more buoyancy, the way you're kind of able to move during labor.
Yes. And that warmth must be so comforting.
It is so nice.
Oh,
yeah.
I could imagine. That's amazing. And did you do that with both? How many children do you have?
Two.
Yeah. And
so just one of them was a water birth. Yeah.
just one of them?
Yeah.
Okay, amazing. Which one? The first one?
The second one.
The second one.
Yeah.
Okay, incredible. So the first one was in a hospital, normal?
Yeah, I was in a hospital.
Did you have a doula?
I did. So my first one I did, and that's kind of, how that was my introduction to that as well.
Incredible.
The second was during COVID, and that was a very,
oh my gosh, yes.
It's a weird time to have a
Correct.
baby.
I sympathize. Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
that's right. You have a little COVID baby too.
I do. I mean, he was born right before.
Oh, okay, that's right.
But it was the same. I mean,
yeah.
Unfortunately with Luke, so our COVID story is he had RSV when he was 4 months.
Oh.
So for those that don't know what RSV is, it's a respiratory infection.
Yeah.
Where they like almost can't breathe. So he's wheezing, and because of COVID, we weren't allowed to go in to see our regular pediatrician. We were doing virtual visits. And so she's like, let me see his stomach. And so she saw that he was struggling breathing. She's like, go to the hospital immediately. Brand new mom, freaking out. And then, sorry, your partner can't come in. So
yeah,
I sympathize.
Right.
I sympathize.
No, there were some women that were not even to birth with their partner.
Yeah.
Really,
which is scary. And imagine like, and having someone like you plus, not having a partner or I mean, that was, I'm sure there are stories that are.
I sympathize.
I do. I sympathize.
Yeah.
And I think about it because like listening to you and having like your energy and presence, I'm sure like incredible feeling. And then on the flip side, it like wasn't allowed.
Yeah. And
at some
especially
point.
I felt really grateful. This was my second birth and I kind of knew what to expect for many first time moms.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
A lot of visits were being done virtual.
Yeah.
It was a crazy time.
It was a crazy time. It was a crazy time. And like talk about like not being supported. And I mean, that's how I ended up in Florida because I had a brand new baby and I was like, I can't do this. I have no friends. No one's visiting me. No mommy and me groups. I'm going to the beach.
Yeah.
So we left. But that's the feeling.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the feeling of loneliness, I guess is the word that comes to me.
Right.
And you're
And you
offering
especially feel that when you
nice.
become a mother.
Yes.
Of how important having that village and community and other mothers that, that could, that are going through it with you.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that I do with my families. We have like a WhatsApp group where they could still connect. We try to do gatherings at least once a month or a book club.
I love that.
Because it doesn't
The
just stop after
afterwards,
the
yes,
birth.
100%. The
Yeah,
postpartum, the community that you're trying to build, especially if you're a new mom, and the questions, all the questions, is this
so
normal? Is this
important.
normal? Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
That's incredible that you offer that. That's like that's key. And so I guess, I go back to it and I'm sorry, like not to bring the negativity, but like what happens if someone, God forbid, needs a C-section or there is an emergency in the moment and you're not in a hospital?
Yeah.
What's the drill?
So honestly, those are really, most of the transfers from homes or birthing centers tend to be for exhaustion.
Oh,
really.
interesting.
Okay. Midwives are really good at observing kind of natural birth, and they could, see if something is off at that moment, they would call it.
Yes.
So I haven't even experienced one that was like a true emergency
Amazing.
that we had to like get up and go. But yeah, birth, we think a lot about the medical part of it. Birth is inherently a natural process that sometimes needs medical support.
Yes.
But not always, not inherently. And I think when you are supported, when you have that great prenatal care, and you have somebody who, that's why I love midwives, because they really understand natural birth and observation.
Yes.
Which is
it's
key.
so key. And I love how you frame that, because I guess it's true. Because otherwise, like I remember, like, again, my OBGYN with my second son, I mean, thank goodness the second birth was phenomenal. Yeah. I really, like we were talking about it a little bit, like, he fell out of me. It was great. Epidural was incredible. They gave me this like peanut thing that I had between my legs and like turn this way and turn that way. And I think within 5 minutes of like feeling like I was going to push, he was out. It was amazing. And I was like in ecstasy. I remember just being like, okay, that's what it's supposed to be like. And it was phenomenal. It was. Me too. Because after the first one, I was concerned. We were concerned where my husband is definitely scarred. But it can be so magical. Mm-hmm. It can be. And I do remember like holding him and everything was normal. And at that point, Luke was even able to, he had a babysitter at the time. So he peeked in. I was on the first floor. We told him what window to look in. He doesn't remember, but it was incredible.
Yes, but at least an imprint.
Yes, he was there. He showed up. The nanny brought him. And it was beautiful. And my mother-in-law was with me for both births. That was really special. But having someone like you, like I could only imagine, like it is scary, and I'm sure that you spend, the time preparing, like your fears are valid, and what do you take women through what are the questions that you hear the most, like around being nervous? Yeah,
pain is a big one.
Fear, yes.
And we talk through that too. What is pain? And the pain of childbirth is very different than any other pain, right? It's purposeful, it's anticipated. And so we talk about that.
Yeah.
And I'm very big on because we live in a society where oftentimes when you see birth, it's like, what is it, like an emergency? And it's like,
I guess that's why I frame the questions like that. You really are helping me and other women. Unfortunately, that's what we see on TV, right? Yes. That's what we see all the time, that it has to be very sterile and you're on a bunch of machines and, you're taking the meds and they're watching you and it's not like you're saying for many of us.
And that's why one of the first things I say, I'm like, watch positive birth stories.
Yes. Now reframe it for us.
Yes, there's podcasts that people share their stories.
Yes.
Watch videos. Yeah. One of the things actually for me, there's a documentary called The Business of Being Born.
Okay.
But that was the first time that I saw birth that way, and that shifted everything. I was like, wow, so this is what it could be like.
Yeah.
And so I walk my moms through that.
That's amazing.
I want you to see birth, talk to other women who have experienced birth. Fear in itself, and I think oftentimes we think we have to just not, get away with the fear or we're not going to lose it. Of course we're going to be fearful, right?
Yes,
there is always that
That's
aspect
normal.
of it's we don't know how it's going to unfold.
Yes.
And birth is a life or death kind of situation.
Yeah. You're bringing
life into, exactly. So the fear doesn't go, away completely.
And each birth is different, right? I'm sure that you would say it doesn't matter if you did it once, it can be completely different the second time. So it's scary each time.
Exactly. And it's always a mystery. We don't know how it could unfold, to your point, that no matter if you do all the things, we don't know, right? Because that's the mystery and the beauty, and that's what I kind of love about it. But every birth is unique.
Yes.
And so really kind of just honoring us. So we talk a lot. I have a workbook that I give to my moms.
Okay.
We journal. We talk about what your fears are. We're framing those fears.
Yes. Incredible.
And then also working on the educational part of it. I think going to it informed does make you feel empowered.
Absolutely.
Because you know what your choices are. You know what options you have. And, equipping all of that. And one of the first things I always say, it's like, creating a birth team who really aligns with what your goals are for your birth. That's the most important thing.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
And going back to safety, that's the first question I ask moms. It's like, when you get pregnant, think about what is my ideal birth look like, and what does safety look like to me? Is
That's
it in
a beautiful
the hospital?
question.
Yeah, is it with a midwife? Who do you envision being there? What's the type of environment?
Yes.
And starting from there.
Yeah. That's incredible.
Yeah.
I guess in a hospital, the epidural is available. Right. What about a woman who, I guess that's a choice, right? If they're choosing not to be in a hospital, is medication involved at all? Is that a choice for them?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there is.
So that's a choice, right?
Yeah,
that's a choice that they're making.
And understanding what your options are.
Of course.
Water is a great tool out of the hospital. Obviously, having that loving touch.
Yes.
There's other things that moms could do. There's like little TENS units that moms could use to help find comfort. But truly, I believe that every woman has it within her to do it.
Yes.
And it's not, doesn't mean that every woman has to birth that way. That might not be how you want to do it.
Right.
But I believe everybody has the power
absolutely.
within them. Because we were born, we've been doing this since the beginning of time.
I mean, truly, like if you see like other countries, they are squatting and popping out babies.
Yeah.
And like, that's it, and move on. And take care of family of 8. And they're just like,
I know, it's
It's
incredible. I know you
incredible.
see
It
women in
is.
Africa, like
Yes.
walking miles, getting their water, and then just
really?
like,
And that's it.
baby.
Literally,
Yeah.
the baby popped out and she's like, oh, we're good. Great. Let's keep moving on.
Exactly.
Really, truly.
Yeah.
And I think it's exceptional and beautiful and powerful. I agree with all of the things.
Yeah.
And I think for me, the hardest part is like, unfortunately, like other moms that have been close to me, close friends of mine, didn't have these beautiful birthing stories.
Yeah.
And I almost question, was it because they didn't have a doula or a midwife? Was it, a hasty decision from the hospital to go get a C-section? And I've had those questions from friends. I had asked before, what is a VBAC? Can you explain that to me?
I was actually thinking of that. So a VBAC is a vaginal birth after cesarean.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's totally possible. You're actually more likely to have a vaginal birth after having a cesarean
Is
birth.
that
It's
the
like
same thing as the vacuum, or is that a different thing?
No, it's just like you're gonna have the baby vaginally.
Great. Okay, I'm glad we're having this talk because that's a different question.
Yeah, so a lot of we've been taught to believe that like once you have a cesarean birth, you always have to have a cesarean
Yes.
birth. That is not the case. Unfortunately, due to lack of options for many women, that is the only choice that they have. A lot of providers do not support VBACs.
Okay.
And so you do have to find.
Why is that the case, do you find?
Their reasoning for a lot of them, it's that it increases your risk of having a uterine rupture.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
But it is very minimal when you look at the stats too of what the risks are of having repeat cesareans. It's actually more concerning.
Yes. Yes.
But yeah, I honestly think it's just education and oftentimes I find sometimes providers are just like, hey, they've been doing things a certain way, and they're like, why change it?
Why change it now? I don't want to be
now?
responsible. Yeah,
But yeah,
can
we
get
do
that,
have.
yeah.
We're really lucky to have really great VBAC providers in our area.
That's amazing. I totally had a different concept of what a VBAC was. I'm so happy I asked that.
Yeah, I think you're talking about a vacuum.
Yes.
Right, a vacuum.
Which I thought was the same. So
Yeah.
thank you for clarifying. I really did. Because I had a friend who was like advocating for herself. And I guess now looking back, we had a child at the same time, 6 years.
Yeah.
I thought it was the same. So what is the vacuum?
Yeah, so vacuum is assisted delivery. So typically that's when the baby's head is low enough.
Okay.
And for really the reason that it should, I guess, be used if it's an emergency and baby needs to come out immediately. Instead of having a cesarean birth, you assist the baby in coming
Got it.
out.
Okay.
But it is often, I think, overused. And
Oh,
that's one of the
interesting.
questions that I always ask a mom, ask your provider, like, how often are they doing these assisted deliveries?
That's a great question.
How often are you doing episiotomies? Because
Yes.
it shouldn't be often.
Yes.
If it
I
is
found that out afterwards.
Yeah.
That yes.
Yeah. No, and there's some providers, because episiotomies were a lot more common before, they used to think that it was better to do that than tearing. But now
Correct.
we know that obviously it's better to
For
to tear
recovery
vaginally
reasons.
For recovery.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. Right. I didn't know that. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I do. I know that. And it's so interesting, like on a tangent, because I think of this, in alignment with birthing. But I had a pelvic floor therapist on, and she was telling me how a lot of women also get what they call the husband stitches afterwards, where they make everything tighter and back to normal. So like with episiotomies and that, like that's not natural and doesn't feel good, and it hurts afterwards. And you find out these things afterwards, not knowing, not being educated, not having a support system like you. And it's scary.
No, it is.
It is.
It is. There's so many things, and I think, a lot of women, they go into thinking like, hey, my provider will do what is best for me.
Right.
And my
And this is what I
baby.
need.
And this is
right?
what I need. And if they're saying it's because I need it, but often the case is that it's not. I've had
That's the
situations
truth, yeah.
where providers wanted to schedule a C-section or an induction because they had, doulas talk, so we know.
Yes.
Like, 'cause they were doing it to other
Yeah.
moms, and they had like a golfing tournament, and it's just like,
I've heard of those things. I've heard. It's funny because I'll tell you another story. It's opposite. I don't know. In Brazil, my in-laws are Brazilian.
Yeah.
They love C-sections. That's actually their practice.
Yes.
So she delivered both kids planned, and it's so funny that you said that because the doctor was going on vacation, so he chose a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
And for me, it's funny because my mother-in-law is like, she like completely freaked out about vaginal birth, like.
Yeah.
Nothing, was so happy that she did a C-section, wanted nothing to do with
Oh,
it.
yeah.
How do you feel about that? Like, what does that say to you culturally?
No, it is. And it's something that gets spread, right? I think that's what's happening in Brazil. It's becoming the norm, right?
It is.
Our friends are doing it.
Yeah.
And, It's
It
just
is.
something.
She told me, and I had no idea. Like that's the norm there. They go and speak to the doctor, and that's what I want. And I guess maybe it looks easier, or they don't want to feel the pain, like you mentioned.
Right. Yeah, and it's like the stories that we hear really shift the way that we view it. I mean, I think that I am so grateful that we have cesarean births and we have that option.
Absolutely.
They are life-saving.
Literally, absolutely.
Yes.
I am totally aligned with you. And I say it about anything, medication, doctors, the science is there for you.
Yes.
Like, even if you're spiritual, God made science, like however you want to frame it, like
exactly.
It's there for you. These brilliant humans made this for you so that, like you said, safety, that you're comfortable, that it's available. I 100% agree. Yeah.
And so that's the first one. So I will never down talk a cesarean birth. I think that it's so.
Absolutely.
But I do think that it is problematic, the overuse of it.
Right.
Because it does have effects and it has consequences. And oftentimes what happens that providers, especially when a mom has a cesarean birth and it didn't go the way that she wanted, and they go on to have, subsequent pregnancies, they don't see what ends up happening. There are some really serious consequences that happen, like placenta accreta, where it gets attached to the scar tissue,
wow.
Things like that. And I always wonder, it's not, it's so much about like the physical part of it, but it's like, think about what for the mom, right? But also, what is that doing subsequently to affecting those other pregnancies and those
absolutely
other births? And I think that's the part that's problematic to me.
Right.
In it, and I think it should only be used like any intervention when it's necessary.
Absolutely.
And unfortunately, it's the overuse of them.
Absolutely.
And we're seeing it with not great outcomes. Having a country with such great medical system, we're not seeing great outcomes for moms, especially in brown and Black mamas.
I mean, that is absolutely true.
Yeah.
Like, you bring up a great point.
Yeah.
It's also, who what you're able to afford, where you're going, which hospital.
It does.
All of those things. Thank you for bringing that up. It's 100% true. Like, does insurance cover doulas? I guess that's my subsequent question for people who are underprivileged.
Yeah. So Medicaid does some.
That's incredible.
Things, yeah. So I actually do take some Medicaid.
I didn't know that. That's incredible to know. No, seriously, these are all. I can't tell you how thankful I am to have you here, because these are all like stigma questions. These are literal questions that, like, if I'm having them, other women are having them. Like, I could never afford that, or I could never have that. And like, so thank you for sharing. It's accessible. It is. It is.
So Medicaid has
Ask the questions.
Right. And some jobs, some insurances do have like a program where they will reimburse you for doula support.
That's amazing.
Unfortunately, it's not as widespread as we would love it to be.
Of course, but it's a start. It's a start.
But it's a start. And I think, just making it even feel that it's not just people who could afford it to have that support, because everybody, deserves to be supported.
I agree. And it's incredible, and it's hard because, it's funny because at the time my sister-in-law, I think, had 2 doulas. I don't remember if it's the same one. Love you, Bella. And she, was huge advocate. Like, she didn't want medication, and she, and I watched her go through it. And I will tell you, I was present, not on the actual delivery. We left the room.
Oh, but during the labor.
But during the labor, we were there. She had her ball. They had the massages. They had the essence, the music, the lowering of the lights. I mean, it was gorgeous. It was incredible. And it's funny because at that time, it wasn't me. And like, I'm the most honest that I can be. Like, I was kind of turned off. Yeah. Because in my mind, was like, it has to be hospital. Yeah. I want the drugs. I don't want to feel it. That was me. That was me at the time, and that's okay.
Absolutely.
That was my experience. Yeah. And I was like, almost like, this is weird. Yeah. Why would you do this? But like, in retrospect, in hindsight, like, I guess the me now, all these years later, would be like, let's do that. Or a mixture of. Right. I think I would have honestly still chosen my epidural, and that's just me, and that's okay. Maybe you would have guided me differently, but I'm pretty sure I still would have chosen it because the second time was incredible. But But it's funny because we do experience that differently.
Yes,
and like,
we do.
That was my experience with the doula for the very first time. I'm like, what is this? What do you mean? How are you doing this?
person?
Right. And, you know, because I guess, you know, in America, it's very guided by medical. So to me, it's like, no, it's what the doctor says.
Yeah.
And I've learned, and you're right, that also should be taken with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
And I've heard other birth stories. There, you know, a mom that I follow went septic afterwards. And the doctor said, you're fine, you're fine, you're fine. And it only happened to be that her husband was an ER doctor and ran around the hospital and advocated. And there's something wrong here. There's something wrong here. And sure enough, she needed a blood transfusion and like all this stuff. And like, again, that's not everyone's story. And that's not a typical story. But I guess it goes to show the point that you bring, that someone like you can advocate and know, like a midwife can say, this doesn't feel right. This doesn't look right. This doesn't seem right, and advocate.
Yeah. And that's what I tell moms, like your intuition, like if something feels off, please go with that.
Yes.
You know, you hear stories like this all the time. Like, you know, I was feeling like something didn't feel right, but my doctor was saying that it's right. And like, you know, and then just like when we have children, right? And there's something going on and you feel it. That there's something
your
off.
kid 100%.
So and that's one of like what I hope to instill in the families that I support, and really listening to your intuition.
I agree.
Right? And following and advocating for yourself and getting those second opinions. And you can't just assume that whatever they're telling you is the right. Not that they mean wrong, right?
No, I agree. It's not an ill intention at all. It's not. And I 100% agree with you. I don't think that it's malicious in any way. Right. I don't think it's like, oh, I know better and I'm dismissing you. But like, sometimes they really like, no, you know, it happens all the time where like the blood work comes back fine or you know, they do a physical exam and to them, they think it's fine.
Yeah.
I mean,
and they're often overworked too, and there's so many.
Oh my gosh, sleep deprived,
there's so many aspects.
They're also
of it.
human, 100%,
exactly,
100%.
But that's where it is our role to really just advocate and listen to.
Incredible.
Did
we miss any kind of other births? What? A better question. What is something that you and I haven't discussed this far that you offer to families, or the types of birthing, the progressive steps that you would help someone through if it wasn't an ideal birth?
Yeah. Oh, that's a great question. I guess start with that one. So I guess like in a hospital setting, we do a lot of preparations before. Just in any birth in general.
Yes.
We do a lot of preparation. And one of the things I try to do is create an ambiance where you feel safe and connected.
Absolutely. I love that.
And let's say things are not, panning out the way that you wanted to. We talk, we have conversations. We make an informed decision together as a team.
Yes.
Making sure that like whatever you decide is not something being coerced to or feared into, but that you are making it because you feel like this is what's best for you and your baby. And so I think that's one of the most powerful things that sometimes that I bring is just having that sounding board where we could talk about it.
Absolutely.
Because what I find, and to your point, that there's not, I think oftentimes like we think about like, oh, the better birth is the unmedicated or the epidural. And what I find the better birth is whatever that looks like. To you.
No, I thank you for that. It's true. It's true.
It really is. And even I find it like in birth work too, that there's obviously everybody has biases and things like that. But the more births that I attend, I realize that it's not about whether you had an unmedicated birth or a home birth or a hospital birth. It's really, did you feel like you had bodily autonomy? Did you feel like you were seen and heard?
Amazing.
That's really what it comes down to. You could have the most beautiful cesarean birth. Yes. Or you could have a home birth that you left feeling kind of traumatized about it.
I believe that.
If you're not supported through it. And so
that's a great point.
Yeah, that's really what I try to do. I'm always back to that. I want that at the end of the experience, things we can't always know how things are going to pan out. Yeah. But that you leave feeling like, hey, I felt empowered. I felt like
that. That's an important word. Yes.
Yeah, that it wasn't something that happened to you, but that you were an active participant in the process.
And it's hard because a lot of women compare. I think that's the hardest part too.
Yeah.
You
and
know,
in motherhood too, you see it all.
Oh,
the time.
100%.
Yeah.
And it's very hard. And I think that's, you know, the importance of women having these conversations and, you know, having this podcast. Like, that was really it for me also. That I feel like, unfortunately, a lot of women compare themselves in silence.
Yeah.
You know, well, I didn't do that. I'm less. I wasn't a good mom. I didn't make a good choice. What if? And having someone like you to say, like, no, this is the best that we did with this situation. Yes. And sometimes that's immaculate.
Yes.
And sometimes it's not, but at least they feel supported and guided and like, no, I did make the best choice. Exactly. And no, it didn't look like hers.
And that's, yeah.
And that's fine.
And that's
yes.
fine.
Yes. Thank you.
No,
yes.
That's so important.
That is empowering because you live with that, and that's the kind of mother that you are. Like,
yes.
I fucked up the birth. Like, I couldn't even do that.
I know, and it's something, right? And that stays with you. Like, my husband's grandmother, she's like 96, and she remembers all her 4 children's birth stories.
Oh, I could have.
It stays with you.
How can you not?
Yeah, like it stays. That's what I'm saying. Like, you
it's
will
who
remember
you are.
this for the rest of your life.
Yes.
And I promise moms that it's not about these little details, whether it was unmedicated or it's not. It's really how you were made to feel.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, that's how I see my role.
I love that.
And, yeah.
I love that. Oh my God, Isis, you're incredible. Is Lamaze still a thing?
Yeah, well, it is.
Someone told me that it wasn't. That's why I ask. It might sound funny, but these are all my questions because I like to be an informed mom. And someone else told me that's not like, you know, again, back to the movies, back to what we see. So yes.
Yeah, interesting enough that I'm actually a Lamaze childbirth educator.
Amazing! Incredible!
So it is a thing.
Good question. Great. Love it.
So Lamaze before focused a lot more on breathing.
Yes.
Which is such an integral part of it. And we talk a lot about breathing. I was like, that's all. The one thing you have to do, you have to breathe.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
That's one of the things that, you know, at birth, I'm always like, you know, make sure to breathe. We breathe together, things like that.
Yeah.
So Lamaze has now switched more to like childbirth education. And like, they have like their 6 healthy birth practices.
I love that. Okay.
And so, yes, it's still around. But now it's more like evidence-based kind of information.
Amazing.
So
okay.
you understand
Got
what
it.
your options
Yes.
are. Now
not just the hee-hee.
not just the breathing, but there's also a lot of moms are turning into like hypnobirthing, which is a lot about like breathing and visualization. It's like another form of childbirth education, which is
Tell me more. What is a hypnobirth?
Yeah. So it is kind of using hypnosis during labor. And you think about it, women, you know, instinctively do this too when they are.
I automatically had a visualization, so yes.
Yes, when you are like undisturbed and you're in that flows kind of state, you know, you go your mind. I've heard women saying that like, oh, I'm envisioning that I'm like riding a dolphin or something, like, you know, just like
cool, yes.
all these things like that get you. We automatically go to whatever it's going to.
That makes so much sense. Yes.
So yeah, it gives you those tools. It does visualization, breathing. It's great, and it also does childbirth education.
I love that.
There's tons of.
That's amazing. And you mentioned that you do like a questionnaire. So you go through with, you know, what are like the typical questions that you ask?
Yeah. So first thing when we meet a prenatal visit, I talk to them, you know, like I said, what was the first birth story that you heard? If everything went according to plan, what would that look like? And let's start from there.
Yep.
What does safety feel like in your body? And what does that look like? And so that's how, with those questions, we do journal prompts. We discuss what are your fears.
Yeah.
And we talk through every single one of them because they're all, you know, valid.
It's incredible because, you know, I just think about it, like, it's so different. And I'm sure year after year you learn more and the science grows and you know, hypnosis is becoming known in like in, you know, different realms and you know, essential oils and it's funny because I see it as like the culture shifts and it feels more normalized. And I always think to myself, like, what would it have been like if I had kids now? Because I probably would, you know, wanting to be more intuitive, understanding, I guess, also what it is to be present and to breathe. And I think like 6 years ago, Daniela would have no idea what you mean, what you're saying. And I love that because I think even now, like, forget birthing and, you know, just being a mom, just being a human, like, practices that I do is breathing
Yeah.
and grounding.
Yeah.
And I could imagine like how incredible that must be
Yeah.
during birth or beforehand to have
Yeah.
someone say like, what you're feeling is normal and, you know, breathe. What does it mean to breathe? And I say it also because I had my second birth, I had a pelvic floor therapist, which I guess offered that a lot for me. Offered, you know, what does it look like when to breathe in versus out when you're
Yeah.
pushing? You know, don't hold your breath. Like all
Isn't
of
it
these things.
Great that you realize how often we don't breathe right when
No,
you
even working out, right?
Yeah,
You're
we don't
supposed to
breathe.
breathe. I always get
Exhale,
it wrong.
right,
But
on the hardest
yes,
part.
do I inhale? Do I exhale? Do I
Yeah.
this? Do I that?
Yeah.
But also the beauty that you're offering is like, don't think about it. Let it be natural.
Yeah, and we
Let it
all
happen.
instinctively happen. We all instinctively know
Right.
how to birth. Like I
Right.
said, it's an autonomic process. And, you know, to your point, also like how the nervous system plays such
So
an
important.
and that's what we were realizing. I think we're all understanding now more with meditation
Yes.
and breathing.
Yes.
And birth is we talk about the physical part, but it's a nervous system.
Oh, I'm
process
sure.
more than anything.
The body must go into shock, or not. Maybe I'm wrong. I
Yeah.
feel like it does.
No, but oftentimes we need, that's why safety, what I keep going back to that, because we want our thinking brain to turn off. We want that primal part of
So
ourselves
important,
to
yes.
turn on. And the
Yes.
only way to do that is when you feel safe breathing through it, right? Relaxing our nervous
Incredible,
system.
yes.
That's so that our bodies could yield and release our babies.
Right. Oh my God, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Tell me about your book.
Oh,
Please
yeah.
talk to me about everything. Where did it start? Was it something that you wrote for your kids, for yourself, for your families? Where did that stem from?
Yeah. So I've always loved children books. I love especially the ones that, I read to my children now, the ones that introduce them to new concepts and ideas. And so I think I always wanted to write one. But it's funny, the idea stemmed that I went to do a mystery reader at my son's school.
Ooh, yes. Yes.
And like one of the, the questions were like, I had to give some facts of myself. And one of them was I work with mothers and babies. Apparently my son knew right away that it was me. But the teacher then asked me, she was like, oh, what do you do? And I was like, oh, I'm a doula. And then I went on to explain to her and she was like, it was in front of the class.
Right.
And then at that moment I was like, oh, I wonder if there's like a book introducing children to the role of a doula.
Right.
And I went online that day and I couldn't really find anything, especially the way that I had envisioned it. And so that's where the idea came from. And I just started little by little, but more than it being about doulas and introducing that role, it's really about the importance of support.
Yes.
And just showing that birth is a natural process, right? And how powerful it is. And it's a moment of connection and love. And so that's what I really hope to, portray in this book. I also have like a Q&A too, where
I love that.
families could talk and ask questions. A lot of the questions that my own children asked me about birth.
That's
and so
amazing.
I hope that it sparks conversations because,
Yeah.
I believe that these stories will shape how they view birth.
Yes.
How they birth, how they support their partner in their decisions to birth. So that's what is really, important.
It's so
for me
powerful.
to, to put it out there.
Absolutely. And how old are your children?
So I have a 9-year-old and a 6-year-old. 5-year-old, I'm sorry. He's going to be 6 this year.
Trust me, it happens all the time. I go through the same thing with myself, but it's a beautiful age gap. I love that 3 to 4.
Oh my God, it's so
perfect.
sweet.
I agree. My kids are 3 years apart, and there's something about that, and it's so funny because I don't remember, like in hindsight, I don't remember if Luke had any questions. I remember explaining to him that there was a baby in my belly.
Yeah.
But I don't think more than that. I don't think he ever was inquisitive about like birth or what are some questions that come across?
Yeah. So this book, and I feel like a lot of families that when there's going to be kids present, it's really helpful.
Yeah.
So they could kind of see what that looks like. But, my daughter would ask me, like, how do they eat? How's the baby eating?
Oh, what a good question. Yes.
Yeah, so we would talk about the placenta and how it gives you everything. Yeah. What was the other thing? We talk, my daughter, I tell them, what I do and how I support moms. And we talk about, like, the importance of breathing and why that is important.
Yes.
And why do babies cry?
Okay, that's a great one.
When they're being born.
Yes.
So yeah, they're definitely my inspiration of the book.
That's
and
incredible.
honestly, having my daughter now, like she's 9 and, we could have all these great conversations.
Yes.
That helped a lot kind of, shape the book and the questions
Amazing.
that I
So
I
is this
answered at the
geared
end.
towards more the children or the parents or both? It's like a family unit support system.
So it is catered for the children, introducing them to children, but to birth. But it's been really beautiful to see how families have then talked about their child's birth because reading the book together.
Yeah.
And there's some nuggets there for moms too. Like there's like a sentence that said like a mom has everything they need inside of them, things like that, or like the baby knows just when to come because we know when we start approaching those, our due date, even though we know it's a guest date.
Yes. You're like, oh my gosh.
Moms get very antsy. So I did throw things like little messages for mom too while they're reading and to remind them.
I love that. That's so important. It's beautiful. I mean, the illustrations, I mean, is there a page or a story in there that's your favorite? You feel free to grab your book, show us, because it's beautiful. It's beautiful, and I recommend everyone to pick up a copy. It's beautiful, and it's gentle. The word that I find, it's gentle and natural and special because it's really hard to answer those questions. Where do babies come from? How do you make a baby? And everyone kind of, depending, like, kind of panics because you don't really want to have that talk.
No, exactly. So it's a way, and I think,
incredible.
We're all really visual, right? But children especially, and I think that helps them kind of be able to prepare. So the illustrations are really, really important to me. I really love this page of like the mom with her affirmations.
So
and this is the part I was saying, like, I'm there to remind them they have everything they need inside them. That's what I tell my moms all the time. I think that as my role, the best thing I could do is like reflect back their own strength and power. And so I love this one. And it acknowledges that birth is hard work, but moms are still strong, you know? And so I love this page. And it's
gorgeous.
Super,
it's gorgeous.
So cute.
It's gorgeous. And the colors,
the all together in the bed. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. I mean, it's really a breath of fresh air. Like you really offer a different side because, everyone does have this birth story. And you know what I think the beauty is? A lot of women don't have that post support. And I think the more, like, really that's what hits for me. Yeah. I think that, and we hear that a lot with anxiety, depression, postpartum, the whole word. A lot of people have different ideas of what postpartum means. I guess I'll quiz you. What does postpartum mean to you?
That's I think postpartum, some people say it's like 7 years after you give birth. I think postpartum is forever.
I agree.
After you have a baby, it doesn't.
You are different.
You are different. And, that was one of the realization after I had given birth, and you're that integration period, right? That I was like, wow, I looked the same, just a smaller belly. But aside from that, like I felt like a completely different person. I felt like society didn't reflect that back or acknowledge that.
Yes.
And I think, and that's one of the things that as this work evolves, I want to do more of that, of really just recognizing the portal, the initiation, the ritual that is birth and postpartum. And I think we don't have that.
We don't.
We just go, we have this baby, and then we're expected to just go back.
6 weeks, you're good to go.
Yeah, you're good to go.
That's your timeline.
Yeah, work like you don't have kids, look like you don't have kids. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Postpartum, and interesting enough, even having gone go through the process.
Yes.
That was the part that I never fully ever prepared for. And that's something that I tried to instill, to my moms.
I love that. And again, back to that, I mean, that was, I think, the hardest part for me. I agree. Yeah, I think that there is, depending, if you ask the right questions, like you mentioned, depending on the resources and the people around you and asking the right questions, you can be prepared for as prepared as possible for birth.
Right.
But then afterwards, it's kind of like you're navigating being a new mom or also having another kid plus a newborn, which is a whole different experience. I mean, like doing it once and you're just focusing on the little person, and then doing it twice, you still have to be someone else's mom, a wife for many, and go back to work for many, and then also have a brand new little person. And it's so hard to care for yourself.
It really is. And
mentally, physically.
And there's that gap in support too.
Yes,
because oftentimes
100%.
you see your doctor 6 weeks after. And I think that's something that we're really missing in our maternal health
couldn't agree
care.
more.
how like
How are you? How are you? Like, meaning like as the mom.
Yeah.
And I think there was once, and maybe you know more than me, but I believe I got a questionnaire about me once from the doctor.
Oh yes, like if you're having
Correct. Like how am I
thoughts and-
feeling?
yeah. And
I was
oftentimes that's like
thankful.
6 weeks.
It
or
was
weeks
though,
after.
correct.
Yeah, yeah.
And I guess that's why I bring it up. But I think I was so happy.
Yeah, that
but
somebody
also,
asked.
that somebody asked.
Yeah.
A little taken back, like you said, like, oh, you're asking me now.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
Those first 6 weeks are.
thank God I kept this kid alive for 6
Yeah.
weeks. You're just asking me now.
Yeah.
But that someone asked.
Yeah.
And I honestly don't know if I remember that with Luke, and I don't know because I don't remember. A lot is blurry because of COVID and you know, my birthing experience and my postpartum. I was very disconnected as a mom. And it's hard because I think having someone like you, what that offers, like what I take from seeing you and feeling you and being in your presence and knowing a doula, sometimes you don't know that there's something wrong. And I guess, you know, you explaining a midwife, right?
Yeah,
Looking at this mom, know something's wrong here.
Yeah.
I think they send us home and like, you know, I pieced it together because I had a, you know, psychology background. That's where it came from me.
Yeah.
That like, okay, maybe I didn't build this bond because, you know, my son went straight to the NICU and, you know, I mean, I didn't have milk and you know, there's all of these stories. And then, so I had a really hard time bonding afterwards because of the episiotomy. I was in pain. I was exhausted. And I literally was like, I hate this role. For months.
Yeah.
And there wasn't the support. And part of it is I didn't know how to ask.
Yeah.
And like, you don't really want to say that out loud to other people. You don't want to be judged like, shit, this sucks. This is, you know, it's not beautiful and it's not,
Right.
you know, oh my God, and I had a baby and it was amazing and
you see social
miraculous.
media and everybody's just the pictures of the baby.
Yes.
And also you have the baby and all the focus goes to the baby. Like they're like, how's your baby doing? But nobody's really asking how the mom is doing.
100%.
And I love what you said about the birth. And that's why I feel, of course, having a doula is not going to, you know, say that a certain birth will go, you know, the way that you want.
You can't, of course.
But I think having that support and why birth matters is because
I love
that
that
transition into postpartum is hard, even if you had the most seamless birth.
I agree.
There's so many things at play, right? You
So
have the
many.
biggest hormonal drop.
Yes.
There is, and this is like if everything is going right? There's
Right.
that part of you like reconciling who you were before, who you are now, a little bit of grief
Beautiful
of
point.
a woman
Yes.
who
Yes.
has
Yes.
died.
Yes. No, that's
Yeah.
so true. I hear that all the time. I have heard that. And thank you for
Yes.
saying that because it's true.
Yeah.
A lot of women say, like, I grieve not being me anymore.
Yeah.
And I had to learn how to be, you know, from a career woman to being a mom.
Yeah.
And it's not natural for everyone.
No, and it's not. But
Which
we're
is okay.
expected to go
It's
on, like,
okay. I
yes.
think that we don't say that enough, that it's okay. That's okay.
Absolutely. And that's why having that support, and to your point, like with midwifery care at home, it's a little different. They do see you more frequently. So that is great. And I love that. And I'm always checking with moms after we do postpartum visits, but I'm texting them. How are they feeling?
I love that.
You know, how's
Thank
it
you for that.
going?
I
Yeah.
thank you for all the moms. It's important. It's important. And also because like, you know, I think about it too, like the poor dads also that are trying to be a dad and support their wives or partners or, you know, whomever it was, you know, brothers, if they're older, you know, the male counterpart is dealing with all of these crazy emotions that the mother is going through the first time. What is advice that you offer for dads?
Oh, wow. Really, if you're noticing, there's so much great support out there. So I think one of the things that I encourage I to immediately after birth, talk about it. Ask your wife.
Yes.
How are you feeling?
Yeah.
You know, really listen. And if you're noticing, nobody knows you better than your partner. If you're noticing, seek support for her.
Yes.
There's so many great resources. There's hotlines and things that you could talk to.
Yes.
For, you know, to get that extra support. But yeah, you like be involved, listen to her, dedicate some time during the evening to talk about how she's been feeling the whole day being with the baby on her own.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Have you ever found that, speaking of mental health, dads who need to seek help?
Not personally, but I have heard, the other dads that have, and it's a huge transition.
It's huge. It's huge. And I say it gently because I think sometimes, we talk a lot about the mom, but it's scary. I'm sure it must be scary. And I talk to my husband, like, post everything.
Yeah.
But that unit, that support that you offer, like it's so important. It's so important. Obviously it's very hard as a mom to in turn be like, wait, Dad, how are you?
Yeah. No, it is important. It's often so stigmatized.
It is.
And dads, unfortunately, oftentimes men don't talk about their feelings.
Right.
And that's what's, it's
which
really
is hard because then they don't know to ask those questions of their wives.
Exactly.
How are you feeling?
Yeah.
How, like, physically, mentally, they're also exhausted.
And that's why we try to talk about that during our prenatal visits. Like, make sure that you guys are talking openly about how.
I love that. I love that. That's so important. I mean, that's where we are, the conversations that we're not having, that we need to have, the support that needs to be offered and highlighted. And you're right, there are so many resources. There are so many incredible resources. I spoke at a community baby shower and offered all those resources because my part was the postpartum.
Yes.
I really struggled. Like I had to, thank goodness I had a psychiatrist already. I knew that about myself. But it's scary. Yeah. You're not prepared. Yeah. You're not.
No,
you can be as much as you want to be. But you don't know what your hormones are going to be like. Like you said, your hormones crash and how you're going to handle it and how you're going to be. And then what happens with your child? Maybe that's not also perfect. Yeah. And, my little guy was sick and
No, there's issues of breastfeeding and tongue-tie and all these things.
Yes, we didn't even touch upon that because you're a lactation consultant as well. Yeah. For me, that was really rough. That was really rough. Yeah. What do you offer to moms? I guess give me both sides. I would love to touch upon that. I think that's so important.
Yeah, both sides of.
Both sides. Like, at which point this is incredible, I'm going to help you, and at which point let it go because it's okay.
Oh, wow, that's such a great question.
Please. For me, that was very important and wasn't offered for me. Yeah. So please offer that to us all that are guilty.
I think when it stops feeling good to you. Breastfeeding is not just nourishment, but it's also that bonding and that connection. Your baby is picking up on your nervous system and and how you're feeling. And if this is making you stressed out and you're not enjoying it, I think, we could try different things, maybe try doing the bottle, or we could try different things. But if that does not work, the best thing you could offer your baby is a thriving mother and a happy one.
Thank you. Yeah.
And
that I know there's best. So much. That's what I heard. Eventually I was told that your kids fed, they're happy. And I was like, thank you.
Yeah.
I remember crying. It was painful. It didn't happen. And then the nurse meant well, she did. But I literally had to be like, stop asking me. Just please, I'm not okay.
No, I think offer mom support, that's part of what I do. We'll try different things. I'm a lactation counselor. That's with all like the normal things of breastfeeding, like latch and, milk, make sure we're getting enough milk. But if it's something more like high acuity, it would be an IB-CLC. And so I will then direct moms to that. So we'll try different things. So it's a board certified. So a lot of things, like if there's tongue ties is
understood.
A big thing.
Yes.
Things like that, they will be able to kind of support you with that. So we create a little team. But at the end of it, if we try all the things and, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And that's okay. And thank goodness again that we have other ways to feed our babies.
Yeah. No, I love that. And thank you for, being honest and because it's, I think back to the mental and, all of this, like what I really take away from our talk, it's such mental as much as it is physical. It's all the mental. Because if you're scared, your body tenses up. If you're not breathing, you're not going to be able to just like have the baby fall out. But then also if you're stressed and can't breastfeed, the baby feels that. You feel that.
Breastfeeding is a hormonal process too.
Right.
So oftentimes if you're super stressed as well.
That's a great point.
That will also affect it. So, Yeah, no, that's why having conversations, creating that village is key.
Oh,
'Cause
Isis, what you do is so beautiful. I like thank you and hugs and you exude warmth.
Oh,
You
thank
do.
you so
And
much.
it's so incredible and an honor to have you here. And I'm just like it's beautiful because like really as moms and I can't think of them now, but like I know that we just have all these questions all the time. And which is beautiful. And I say that to a lot of mothers. It means you're a good mother.
Yes.
You're
if
meant
you're questioning.
correct.
If you're a good mother, you're a good mother.
You're meant to
Yes.
ask those questions. You're
Yes.
meant to feel that way. You're meant to go get help.
Yeah.
And like, but finding you from the beginning must be so empowering and so incredible and so supportive. And how long do you follow your families afterwards?
Yeah. So we do our prenatal visit normally in 2 weeks after the birth, but I am constantly like checking in. That's why we have like a group because it does become a little challenging to keep track of everybody.
I'm sure.
But
That's beautiful.
why-
You build that community. That's incredible.
And
I
that's
love that.
Yeah, and I always tell my moms, you don't just get rid of me after the birth. Like,
no,
I'm
and that's so
always here.
important. Incredible.
If you have questions, concerns, recommendations, like I'm always here. So
Oh
where
my
every family, of course,
gosh.
holds such a special place in my heart.
It is. I know.
Yeah.
How many births have you done?
I'm at 100 now.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
I think by this month I will be hitting 100. And every single one is just, I
Incredible.
still can't believe that I get to be invited
I
into
love
one of
that.
the most transformative, sacred moments of somebody's life.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's really something I don't take for granted. Every single one is so special.
And
Yeah,
it
it's
shows.
amazing. Yeah.
Honestly, it shows. Like you have to have the right personality, temperament, belief. No squeamish, no squeamishness. I don't know if that's the word, but that's what comes to me. Like you have to love it, and you do, and that's incredible because, I mean, it is incredible. It is, and beautiful and scary and all the things, and like it's just so incredible to have the support. And I think that every woman should have the whole thing, the village,
Yes. We're
and
meant
what do
to
I
be
mean?
held.
Yes,
Yeah.
we're meant to. That visual that you gave us in the beginning of like, just literally having someone there. You're okay. This is okay. I got you.
Yeah.
That's it.
Just the power of presence.
Correct. I love that. That's
Yeah.
beautiful. You
Yeah.
should coin that. The power of presence. I agree. That's incredible.
Yeah.
As we wind up, is there any tidbits that you would like to offer our audience? Anything, any advice that you really feel that other moms, whether they're expecting or postpartum or it's 6 years later, it doesn't matter. What piece of advice resonates with you the most?
Oh wow, there's a few, but I think the one that, to our conversation of like, ask for support. Like, you don't need to do this. You don't need to do this alone, and what you're going through, other women are going through. We know that every time we have a conversation.
Absolutely.
So ask for support. Please find your village, even if it's like that mom group.
Yes.
Yes. We really need that. We are not meant to do this alone.
Yeah.
We're not to any of this. Any of our seasons.
Any of them. Any of them. I
All
agree.
the seasons of womanhood.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. That's beautiful.
Needs support.
How does one find a doula?
That's a great question. So a lot of times it's through, recommendations. So if you had a friend or family had a doula, you could ask them how their experience was on Google. There's
that's
there's
important.
different like collectives and things like in the area.
Incredible.
There's agencies. There's, on the internet, you could find whole tons of doulas. On Instagram, a lot of people find them now.
Yes. Well, and I think that's, to the point also, like now there's all of these resources and it's so much easier. But like back in the day, it was like almost taboo. It was almost like you're doing what? And that's beautiful. I think power, knowledge is power.
Right.
The support, the openness that a lot of us are doing this or need this or this would be incredible. At least check it out.
Yes, at least check it out and have some conversations.
Yes.
People always say like, how do I know if this is the right doula? And it's like, if you envision them at your birth, like if you envision, it's like I like to think about like their birth sister.
Yes,
like,
that's great advice. If you envision them and you want them there,
and you want
the energy,
them there,
the presence. Yes. Great advice.
So talk to different doulas, and you'll know when you meet. It's like when you find a partner.
Correct.
When you speak to them, and you know they're the one.
Yeah.
So
and it's funny because the right partner, the right doula, will calm your nervous system.
Exactly.
Like that, you know, from someone who's healing from anxiety, that's the truth.
Yes.
When you find someone, that's so beautifully said, when you find the right person, they will be that for you.
Yeah, that gives you that like exhale, like
yes, literally. I'm like,
yeah.
And you have that presence. I want everyone to know that. Please tell everyone where to find you, where to find your book.
Oh,
I think that it's so important that you should know Isis. She's incredible.
Oh, thank you. So my book is found anywhere books are sold. So Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Bookshop, any of that. And then you could find me at The Intuitive Womb on Instagram or on my website, www.theintuitivewomb. So everything is the same name.
Amazing. And we will link that for everyone.
Thank you so much.
Isis, it was incredible having you.
This was so much fun.
This was so much fun. It was so informative. It was comforting. I literally feel like we had a conversation that offered a hug.
Yeah.
I really think I do. I thank you for that, because I think that we jump into motherhood and you know, that's always the focus. And now I'm a mom, and now I'm a mom. And I think it really goes back to the birth story. I don't know.
It's just the beginning.
It is. Yeah. And having this conversation with you, like, that really clicked for me. I'm going to be honest. I don't really think that I framed it in that way before, that it literally starts with your birth story.
It does.
That's because that's the second you become a mother, right?
It is.
Or do you, actually, it's a great question. Do you think that you're a mother during pregnancy or once you give birth? And there's no right answer.
I think you're a mother when you're pregnancy.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Now that I say it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do.
Because you're going through it.
I feel so connected to my baby.
Yes.
Like when I was.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like you love them instantly. It's like a love takes root. Like as soon as you find out.
Yeah. And you're protecting your mama bear.
Yeah.
You are a mama bear already.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I can agree. I had to think about that as I was asking you, but yeah. Yeah, I think.
It's just, and then, you know, and obviously, like, the birth is obviously, it's like the manifestation of all that preparation. But, I think in pregnancy.
You are. It's an honor to be a mother, and it's scary and beautiful and confusing and all the things. And we all thank you. Like, for women like you, for I know that you say that it's been around, but, like, you know, there is this, I feel like, call back to humanity that we're going through, the civilization.
Like remembering.
Right?
I feel that.
Do you feel that?
Yeah, I do.
I really do. I feel that often. I feel that, like, you know, 2026, like, people are going back to health and what to eat and just to feel good, not for punishment, not for, you know, and finding women like you, like, help me birth, help me feel good, help me feel supported. And
reconnecting back to ourselves.
Yes. Beautifully said. Yeah. Yes. Is there anything that we missed that you feel like you want to share?
Oh, wow. I mean, this was such a beautiful conversation.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I just want to, you know, I think it's so important for women, all women, including you, who are supporting, to also feel supported.
Oh.
And I thank you. I thank you for your knowledge, for your tidbits, for your warmth.
Thank you so much.
Please go find her. If you have questions, you know, reach out to Isis. Maybe you just have a question. How do I find a doula? You know, do I want one? Do I need one?
Oh my gosh,
I mean,
totally.
you know, we all have these questions. You don't have to go through it alone. You don't have to.
And it doesn't have to be a doula. It could be a friend, whatever.
Wonderful. Yes.
I'm always,
right. You're right. You're a friend. You're a friend. You're a mom.
Friend.
Yes, 100%.
Absolutely.
Ask the question. Seek the help. I guess that's the motto here. Ask the question. Seek for the help. Look for the support.
Yeah.
Don't do it alone. Don't be alone. We don't have to be alone.
No.
And it can be lonely. It can be lonely and isolating, and it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be.
It does not.
And
thank you for having these conversations and making women feel
well,
less
thank
alone.
you for having them with me, because it's so important that we do have these conversations. Stay tuned, everyone. Isis is incredible. Motherhood, birth, it's beautiful. It's scary. It's everything in between, and it is such a transformative spiritual season of our life, and can go in so many different ways. And just know that it doesn't matter your story. It's all okay. It's all beautiful. It's all accepted. It's all wonderful. And you have incredible supports like Isis. I can't wait for you to watch. Stay tuned. Like, subscribe, follow us, reach out if you need help, and we'll see you on the next one.